I think part of what I want to talk about right now is this is kind of two employees and two customers, and I touched on it yesterday on cave-ins and ditches and shoring and these sorts of things, and also to other companies too. A couple things whenever you're considering the cost of doing sewers, and what it takes in trenching and different things like that. I think I know I've heard, it's a saying that's been going on, I don't know, since I was a kid, since they've done road work, and you have complaints or statements or whatever about paying a guy to lean on a shovel. And so I want to kind of quickly go over that and the protocols that I have for digging. Now, on a sewer line, you cannot safely have only one person on the job. Bare minimum, you need to have two. Okay? Bare minimum. You need three. And what you need three for is you need one person or two people to be able to do the work. If you need to put shoring in, it generally takes two people. So you need to have two people available for that, at least. And so what that allows you to do is have one person down in the hole doing the work, not only being able to hand tools, but also to look out and watch what's going on the trench around them, so you can make sure that there's not something that is that you haven't accounted for, or a dangerous situation of one sort of or another. It's best to have three, so that you can have one person down there working, another person watching, helping, and another person watching, and the other person watching can go get help or start digging or start becoming the person that watches and helps while the second person is helping to get the other guy out. So when you look at these guys out on the street and you see 5 or 6 people standing around watching one guy dig, well, there's probably only enough room for one guy to dig down there. But you got to remember, how would you want to be if you were down in a ditch right there, would you want to be the only one out on a job? Or would you feel better if there was 5 or 6 people watching you ready to come grab your ass out if something went wrong? Personally, I'm going to want to have as much help as I can. And if those guys are getting paid $25, $30, $45 an hour, well, it's a hell of a lot cheaper to pay that than it is to pay for the life of a person, or the injury, or the loss of mobility, the ability inability to do their work. So that's where you can get into the costs associated with sewers. I want to show a couple pictures too of incidents that's happened. Some of these couldn't, there's two. There's a couple pictures, 3 pictures I want to show you. One of the same incident. Another one is a different one. So in one of these, the one I'm getting ready to show you, is this 2 guys working down in a ditch downtown of some city. I don't know. Maybe it was Colorado. I can't remember. It wasn't here in Oklahoma. And they were both down in a trench, and a water main broke loose. There may have been shoring in there. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I know that a water line broke loose. That sloughed off dirt. One guy was trapped. And of course, the ditch, it was a water main, so it wasn't like it was a small amount of water. It flooded the ditch. The guy couldn't get out, and he drowned. So anyways, didn't show a picture of him, but this is a picture of his buddy. This is a picture of his buddy and a fireman. You can see how you'd probably feel. You can see the fireman working right there. You can see the ladder. You see the water just roaring and rushing up. You can see he's just down on his knees. He's not exhausted from gasping a breath. He's, He ain't feeling too good. You know, who knows? He may have hated the guy down there, but chances are they probably were friends. And he's not that young, but he's not that old either. I don't know how old his partner was, but anyways, that's one thing. This one right here just happened about, it happened here in Oklahoma, I don't know, a month or two ago. This guy, this is a picture, I'm going to show you a picture of him right before the trench collapsed on him. It was like 2 minutes before, and this trench collapsed. And this one is ridiculous. Anybody should have known better. The guy should have never got down in the trench, and I'm not going to speak ill of the dead, but nobody. This is common sense. Ridiculous. Don't even understand why it would. The only reason I could possibly think was that there was very limited space to put the dirt. I don't know. They should have done it differently, for sure, because you're going to see this, and I'm going to show you a close-up shot of it. So this is the picture of the trench. This right here is probably a gas main that's running along that they dug up, and you can see his shoulders. I'd say the guy, you know, somewhere between, you know, between 5 foot tall, 6 foot. I mean, I don't know, at least 2 foot wide shoulders. Yeah, maybe I don't know how wide most people's shoulders are, but you can see the distance between the ditch and him is very narrow. You don't have even space to put shoring in there. You don't have room to put a shoring jack in there or plywood. You wouldn't have enough room in there, period. Impossible. And you can see this has all been disturbed. And you can see there's rocks. There's a mixture of sand and clay in here. This is the close-up shot of the guy, of his face. You can't really see it very good, but if it was a better picture, right here is the sewer main, and there's actually a hole that's been busted in it from the original installation. So that's probably an 8-inch clay tile main right there, and that little shovel he's using is to dig out from underneath it. He's not super young, you know. Also want you to notice, you see he's wearing gloves. He's wearing gloves. It's a good thing he had those on, huh? Make sure his fingernails are clean. You know, shit rolls downhill. Payday's on Friday. Don't chew your fingernails. Well, he ain't got to worry about that for sure. At least his fingernails are clean, huh? Anyways, yeah. And so to you guys that don't use it, that's what's good. That's, you know, it happens, period. You got to consider, if you're doing repair work and you're digging up something that has already been dug up once, okay, it's filled, it's been disturbed once, it hasn't been compacted well, it's not the original compaction, and you get a mixture. Once you start digging this stuff out, you're mixing the dirt up and mixing it up, so it's not the same. You know, you can look at the soil conditions at OSHA. There's A, B, B, C, and C. So A is going to be like rock. You don't need to do shoring for A, because it's just fucking rock. There ain't nothing to collapse. And then B is going to be, you know, hardened clay, you know, stuff like that. I don't remember. I think you probably, honestly, I can't remember if you use shoring on that, but BC is the most common. It's the most common. And these you can slope. You know, you got your 45-degree, you know, load-bearing plane. So if you dig a hole, you know, equally as wide as it is deep, well, then, you know, that's shoring. They call that's shelving. You can shelf, and that's another way to do it. You don't have to have shoring, and you can do that in a lot of situations. Of course, that's not going to work in a backyard. Okay, and you have some of these guys who dig in. Oh yeah, I'm going to shelf it, and you go out and look at the shelving. No, that's not shelving. Yeah, that's not a 45-degree angle. Yeah, you put a shelf in there, but it's still going to cave in, or could cave in. So, C is sand, and that has to be like a 38 degree or something, slope. So, sand, I don't even know if shoring would be difficult, but, so that's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with this stuff. It's not safe, and it's not smart. There's another one that happened, and I probably mentioned this before. It takes a second. It takes less than a second. You think about pick up a bag of concrete. Most of them between 80-60 pounds are really. They used to be 80 all day long. Now you can get them in like 40, 60, and 80. What is that? The sissification of anyways, I'm just kidding. People need to be able to, 80-pound bags carrying around suck. But you can, you can imagine an 80-pound sack of concrete. Okay, concrete's no more. Concrete is heavy. Well, dirt's the same. It's no less heavy. Sometimes it's heavier. It's because it's wet too. Now concrete may be a little bit heavy, but it ain't that much heavier. And granted, you don't have, dirt. You don't have, are not enclosed in a reinforced, sack, that's holding it together, but you get hard chunks of it. And you imagine being down in a hole and having someone drop a sack of concrete on your back, or that ain't easy. The other thing to think about, if you're down in a hole and you don't have to be covered up all the way. Just covered up to your knees. You think about it, you think you can slip your foot at. Well, no, because your leg is like this, but you got to remember you got a freaking foot there too. So all that dirt comes in and packs down on top of that. You're not going to be able to get your foot out. It's like it's not going to come out because that shit's going to be packed in around it. You're not going to be able to slip it out. You're not going to be able to slip it out of your boot because you're not going to be able to move your legs. It's going to be put in place. The only thing you're going to be able to do is dig it out. And if you're out there by yourself and you can't reach your fucking shovel, what are you going to do? And if it's tight enough and it restricts the flow of your blood, and that blood in your leg, becomes septic, whatever it is. I don't remember the exact details of it, and I could be a little wrong about the details but I believe that if you are buried enough for long enough, once you get dug out, you can get poisoned from the blood. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Being stuck down there is fucking stupid. So, also want to talk about the competition on pricing on this stuff. I've had 2 instances on sewer lines where I was the most expensive and got it. Just recently I did a bit of sewer. I didn't expect to get it. Gave them prices straight out of the book though. And they had 2 or 3 or 4 other bids. And all of them were right around $6,000-$7,000. Well, I bid mine at $9,800, and I got the $9,800 one. They called because they really wanted to use me, so they wanted to see if we would come down. And no, I'm not coming down on it. Why? Because there's just too much risk. This particular one we were rerouting a sewer around a swimming pool, so this pool's already been dug that hasn't had any concrete flow as far as I know. I can't remember, but we have to dig right up against it. And there's always a chance that problems can occur, where we cave in the side of a ditch. So the side of the swimming pool. You know what I mean? We got to take special care. And of course, it crossed under a patio, a paver blocked patio. So the pavers could be removed, but at the same time, who knows how it's actually going to really come out. And so we had to basically double the length of the pool, of the sewer. I mean, you know, it went straight across the middle of the sewer, so we had to go all the way around it. And, you know, it just about doubled the size of it, which doubles the amount of fall that you need. So that makes it deeper than what you can get to. And that particular sewer main's 8 feet deep. I think that clean out came out at about 3.5 feet deep. So, you know, 60, 70 feet is, you got to have a 1/4 inch fall per foot. So, basically what you do on that 70 feet, you divide that by 4, right? So that's going to be 1, 4. I'm doing this on paper. So hopefully that didn't take me 3 years to do it. So that's 4, 3, 0. Okay, so that's 6, 7, 28. So that'd be 7. So, you know, 18 inches, 20 inches, you know, something like that. By the time, you're not going to be perfect. No one's going to get 1/4 inch per foot. So it's going to be probably closer to, you know, 3/8 to 1/2 inch per foot by the time everything's said and done. You know, so every bit of, you expect every bit of it to be about a 2 foot drop, about 2 foot feet. So if we start out at about 3.5 feet up by the house, you know, you're going to drop probably 2 feet going around. That puts you at 5, 6 feet just to the bottom of the pipe. Well, then you still got to make the curve. You still got to go from horizontal to vertical, right? So you have to account for the makeup for the fitting, you know, because you have, you know, your fitting has a radius and it has a hub. So, you know, you're going to have waste. You don't just put 2 pieces of pipe together. You put them like that, and then you put your fitting in between, right? So that means you have to dig down deeper to make that, plus to make the cut. You know, so we're already at about 5 feet deep. That means 6 feet deep. So I'm 5'10". So already that hole's at the top of my head. Then we have to put all the dirt. And so we're also in a backyard, and we're right up, not very far from a outbuilding they put right there, right on the easement. Luckily they didn't cover up a riser. I'm getting ready to go out there someday this week to go run a camera down there and locate everything. Anyway, so what I did is I went in there with a plan. I went in there with an explanation. I went in there with knowledge and the ability to articulate the dangers, what it's going to be required, and to know what is there. You know, one of the things Oklahoma City will do, and I love this, and it makes you look so smart, is they have an office, the Oklahoma City Help Desk, and you can call down there and you can ask for the water main and sewer main locations for a specific address. And not all of them have all of the information, but a lot of them do, and especially the newer homes have the locations of the risers, where the risers tie into the main at, and they show you the depth of the main, where the depth, where the manholes are located, and how many feet off of the manholes where those risers are located. And it gives you that in an overview shot. It's not just a map, it's a picture. So you can walk in to that job before you even get there. It takes about 15 minutes. I mean, I called the guy and I had the email in like 5 minutes. It was super easy. And what I was able to do, I was able to formulate a plan, you know, within 10, 15 minutes. Now, granted, I've been doing this a while, and I know I don't have to, you know, I've had already a lot of pitfalls. And as you know, I've talked about, I was a ditch digger, and I'm good at it. So I've done a lot of it. And so I'm real familiar with the dangers and the pitfalls and what it takes and that sort of thing. So whatever. I mean, Not that I'm a genius, it's that I've done it enough times. So what I did was I took that overview shot and I shared it with the customer so that when they did get other estimates, they could give it to the people so that they could give a fair estimate, so they could give what they want. I don't know if they used it, but I was able to provide that to the customer. We use electronic invoicing and stuff like that. I can attach these things to the estimates. And so, spend some time with the customers and get to know them. I probably was actually there for like an hour, and most of the time I talked with the homeowner's wife. The wife of the homeowners. And so, learned some about them and explained to them, the basic principles of it. All you have to do is educate yourself a little bit. Take a, you can, all this information, you can actually Google. OSHA has all this crap. They tell you exactly how to type the soil. They tell you what to do to, all the reports, how to put the shoring and what the minimum and the maximums are. You have this information available to you, and it can allow you to have the knowledge and the ability to articulate to customers what it is. Do you really want to do these things for $6,000? Or would you rather do it for $9,800? Personally, I'd rather do it for $9,800. I've got a traco, I've got shoring, I've got the piping, and then I've got to pay labor for two guys. So, $9,800 is a lot of freaking money for somebody, and for 3 days worth of work. But, also covering the cost of hands on job, the hands on deck, the hands available to you. Not, you make sure that you get guys who are strong, who are going to be able to be there to help, to watch out, to know what to do, that costs money. And that's what you need to realize, or that's what that's what I am saying to you. That is a really good chance. And as customers, this is how I want, explaining this to you. It's not, I sold the job, right? No, the customer, I gave the customer the information and I presented it well. And I gave them an invoice that explained the different tasks and we are able to do a price up front. So I can have your base prices and then add on to those prices based on what the needs are for that particular job, and they can see exactly where their money's going to. So some of that is helpful if you can come up with your own system and your own pricings for that. I have my own. I'm not really going to share it, although I share it whenever I give whenever I give an estimate. I share the pricing. So that's it for now. Anyways, 30-minute talk on that. That's pretty good. That's kind of it for now, guys. This one might be a good one. Maybe I'll share this one on Facebook. I don't know. So it would be good for everybody. Y'all have a good day.